Monday school is what Wally learned at church in 3 minutes or less. Think of it as like the Twitter version of church.
So much of our faith is focused on how we as believers treat non-believers. And Romans 14, though, talks about how we should treat each other inside of the faith. But I think it's a good reminder that, like, there are plenty of differences in church, which isn't bad. I mean, we have so many denominations, but we can learn to navigate that stuff more constructively than I think we do. We get a little judgy in the church as well. And one thing to keep in mind is to not get caught arguing over the non-essential elements of faith. Like, for example, movies, music, dancing, drinking, eating, types of baptism. Like, everybody's got their opinions about that stuff, but they're not salvation driven. You know what I mean? And so the point of this was they had discourse even in Jesus' day, and we have it today. However, we should be in agreement over the things that are indisputable in faith.
Right.
You know, and like Jesus being the Son of God, that's the thing we should not waver on for sure. The other stuff, you know, you could negotiate that with people, you know. Romans 14 says, "Accept the one whose faith is weak without quarreling or disputable matters. One person's faith allows him to eat anything, but another whose faith is weak eats only vegetables." Ha ha! Called vegetarians weak. Okay. That's all I got from this. There's your Monday school. But the one who eats everything must not treat with contempt the one who does not. And the one who does not eat everything must not judge the one who does. For God has accepted them collectively. So all the things we argue about,
yes,
and we elevate, God's like, look, I cover all of you.
Well, and I heard from one pastor, he was like, you know, there might be a conviction that you have that another doesn't have, and that doesn't mean you should judge that person's faith walk. And that's true. Like, no, we shouldn't put ourselves in the seat of a judge. Instead, that belongs to God.
Because here's the tough part in this, though. It says, if your brother or sister is distressed because of what you eat, you are no longer acting in love. Do not by your eating destroy someone who Christ died for. So basically, it's saying, does the Bible allow you to have a drink as long as you're not getting drunk? Yes. But if doing so causes someone in your life to stumble, then you should not do it. Do you have the right to do it? Fine. Do you have the right to go see movies? Do you have the right to do all this other? Yeah, it allows for these things. But it also says, if it's messing with somebody, don't do it with them or in front of them or make an issue of it with them, because you're causing them to stumble, and that is worse. You know, so basically, how do we live at peace? We don't let disputable issues become primary and non-disputable issues like salvation become secondary. And I think if we do this, it's not only going to help our church be stronger, but it might actually go outside the walls of the church and actually help kind of heal a broken and wounded world.